Yo, what's going on, everybody? So, here's something crazy, right? So, we got a new content cop from Idubbbz, which is insane, you know? Growing up in high school and all that, Idubbbz, Filthy Frank, Max, and Chad they were pretty big for me growing up. I watched a lot. I mean, I remember the Tana Mojo content cop, the best one, the Rice Gum one, in my opinion. And now we have a new one. Now, normally when we see a content cop, Idubbbz tries to be very impartial and only tries to speak on the negative sides of their content from a perspective of you're doing something wrong and this is why it's wrong. You know, like with Tana Mojo, the we got that one good old meme. You know, I ain't gonna say it on here because it's it's pretty edgy even for my taste. I'm not trying to be an idiot. However, when I'm watching this new one, it it, it doesn't shock me that there's already videos out about how terrible this new content cop is. Because again, like I said before, it content cops were typically about somebody did something that was clearly wrong, right? Like with Rice Gum, the amount of crap he would pull to be constantly flexing on everybody, acting like he's some god tier creator, when in reality, he is, again, nothing more than just an idiot with a camera. You know what I mean? But this time around, Ian didn't really talk about the real problems that needed to be talked about with Ethan, right? All he really did was complain about stuff that he didn't really like that Ethan was doing from H3. I'm gonna start using their actual channel name so I can differentiate because of my speech patterns. So I'm just gonna start saying Idubbbz and H3, right? Now this probably won't be the most well put together video, but I feel like I have to say something on this because again, this is my childhood, my area of shit that I used to watch, everything like that. You know what I mean? And to be pretty much seeing Idubbbz kind of just spend a whole fucking hour complaining about, well, you're putting me on blast, you're putting these people on blast, da 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 da. Like, one of the first things I would have brought up, instead of bringing up about how he betrayed you as a friend, because that's pretty much the entire video, first thing I would have brought up is the fact that he is still adamantly trying to fight on shit with these people, knowing full well he's putting his family, his friends at risk. Like, I'll flat out say, doxing people over internet beef alone is pitiful, dude. Alright, if you're doxing people because of an internet beef, you're a sad, pathetic individual in my eyes. Okay? And it goes even further when you're talking about shit like, people were calling child services on his kids. They were swatting him, and that's fucked up shit to do. You shouldn't do that, regardless of how much you don't like what somebody says on the internet. That's something I can 100% entirely agree with. Don't be going out of your way to cause physical harm to somebody because they said something you don't like on the fucking internet. But where I have the issues with is clearly H3 likes to dramatize everything. And what it boils down to is he knowingly is putting his family at risk to continuously put his opinions out on topics like this. In reality, he should lean back and look at himself. But instead of bringing that up, right? Instead of talking about how Ethan is putting people in risk, like real life risk, he would rather continue to push whatever bullshit tirade that he's on, just so that he has, like, I guess, pity points? You know what I mean? And this is where, again, a lot of people have fallen off with these YouTubers. Is the content that they used to produce had actual meaning to it. There was a reason to be making the videos. And while there is multiple reasons for making a content cop on H3, it's just one of those deals where you can tell that he's only doing this because Idubbbz is butthurt that H3 isn't leaving him out of shit, that he's calling him out. And that's where I think a lot of these videos that are talking about how poorly this content cop was done, that's where it's about. As a creator, dude, you have to be intelligent as to what you're doing. You can't just release any dumb little thing that you want to put out, right? I mean, I could take my own advice on that one, but essentially, Idubbbz is just putting out this slop. Okay? He put out this video just because of the fact that he's upset that Ethan isn't doing what he used to do, which was basically now to the people he was friends with. And while I will sit there and say I cannot agree with a lot of the shit that he is doing as an individual, I'm also not gonna sit here and try to avoid the fact that Idubbbz Content Cop is it's a complete dumpster fire. Alright, you bring back your typical, 3-4 minute skits, but it's not even the same thing, You're clearly targeting it towards Ethan, trying to make it like, oh, if I put this content cop out, Ethan will stop and realize, no. People like H3 are never going to wisen up to their fucking antics. Because they're so sucked into their own ego because of how big they might be on the YouTube platform or Twitch, whatever, TikTok, Instagram, you name it. The problem is, you're not famous, dude. You're not famous. Okay? You want to talk about being a huge creator on the internet? Yeah, go for it. But you're not famous. And these people seem to fail to live in the reality of things, where if you go and you look at the amount of subscribers Ethan has, yeah, what is it, somewhere upwards of 3 million still? Both of them still have a major account on YouTube, but they're not pulling in the same views, the same likes, the same interactions that they used to, and that's because they switch. They're constantly flipping back and forth to try to avoid consequences, to basically, ignore the fact that what they're doing is inherently morally wrong. Okay? Ethan's going off about some crazy dumb shit that, in my opinion, he probably really doesn't know much about, because Ethan's not a political streamer. The guy just shits out whatever content he can to be a fucking idiot. And a lot of these people, man, it's a refusal, in my eyes, it's a refusal to grow up and face the music, if that makes any sense. You want to sit there and you want to talk about how these people are pieces of shit for what they do and say, you better expect people to have an opinion on you. That's why I really don't want to be making content like this. Because, for one, I know I'm not the type of person that's going to be putting the most amount of time and energy into just shit talking somebody. Alright? I'm not someone that likes to go out and do a shitload of research, that likes to sit down and meticulously do everything, right? But the problem is, this is one of those things I kind of feel like I want to speak on. Because it's my childhood, dude. It's one of the content creators that I've watched since I was about, like, what, 11 or 12? Maybe getting into, like, my early teen years. Dude, I'm a fucking old and Gen Z, right? So, I was watching Idubbbz 10 years ago. And growing up with it and laughing along the way whenever someone did some really dumb shit and he content copped it. But now, instead of you actually being impartial to shit, it's all about how you're being treated. How you feel as though you're being treated by your fucking so-called friend, and you're just mad that Ethan's not, he's not tailoring to you. He's pissed off at you for being silent, which I'm also gonna say, I do not blame him for that. Ethan was going on some really stupid tirades and putting a target on his back. And when you do shit like that, you can't expect people to want to defend you. When you put a target on your back and you're doing something that is clearly you in the wrong, nobody wants to defend you. I mean, the fucking fact alone that we saw people that completely disagree with Ethan defending him on the child shit, that should tell you who had their mind in the right areas. Because a lot of those people that were trying to say, hey, look, this is fucking wrong, were also the same people that were explaining at the starts of their videos and shit that, you know, it doesn't matter how much we disagree as individuals, you're bringing something that should stay on the internet into reality. Alright? What Ethan is doing is basically painting a target on his back by basically just shitting on any streamer or YouTuber that disagrees with him, and then turning around and expecting everybody that's connected with him to go, yeah, let's go, Ethan. It's sad. But all Idubbbz can focus on with the H3 bullshit is he was attacking me and Anissa, whatever the fuck. And fuck it, now it's time to get involved. When the reality is, you didn't need to put that out there. And if you wanted to put it out there, there are a lot of things you could be talking about, like Ethan's behavior, not just towards you, but towards people as a whole. Ethan's highly manipulative tactics. And the fact that he's literally trying to utilize everything that's been going on with his children to justify his actions. Okay? I don't give a fuck how bad you're getting, like, shit on by other creators, right? To basically go through and utilize the fact that your children are being put in harm's way to gain sympathy is disgusting to me, dude. It's really fucking disgusting. Alright? And this is coming from someone that does not have children. Alright? This is coming from someone that is childless. I do not have a baby mama. I do not have a wife with kids. However, even with that being said, there is a certain level of morality and understanding that you need to have as an individual to consistently put shit out like that. Which, for Ethan, it's very minimal. And Ian is clearly, again, he's just upset. He's just upset that fucking H3 is trying to call him out for shit when, again, H3 really doesn't have a leg to stand on. But at the same time, the fact alone that you're not delving into the actual problems that H3H3 has been on for a while. You're not really trying to get on to him about anything. You're just trying to say, like, look, dude, all these people that you consider friends, or you considered friends, you know, you're not helping. All you're doing is bashing us because we, and to be fair, they were being smart by staying out of it because it could easily have transferred over to them. Alright? All of his antics basically boil down to what I lived through growing up because, again, natural, born and raised Floridian, we have this little thing called fuck around and find out, right? And I'm sure y'all on the internet have a lot of knowledge about that. You know, it's a big fucking meme. But that's where Ethan and Ian, H3, and Idubbbz have been fucking up. Okay? Now, I can understand that shit happens, people fall out, shit happens. You know what I mean? But, like, everything he was going on about, you know, he was just, like, the fact that Ethan's going back and forth with Hassan, but being very hypocritical in it, where he still follows the guy, he still has access to shit with Hassan, and yet we don't see any real, like, actual criticism. All it is, well, he doubles back into, well, you know, he's showing a clip about Ethan calling him out for, seeing shit on their feeds because they follow Hassan. So then why as an individual are you still following Hassan? When this is a lot of times why, again, I've fallen off with these content creators. Because they don't make any sense in their actions. All they care about is garnering more fame, more attention, and that's what it is. In my opinion, Idubbbz only did this because it's, right now, going off on H3H3 is a very relevant thing because, again, Ethan has been doing some really stupid shit lately. But rather than being an adult about it and actually trying to go through and be unbiased and impartial and actively talk about why what Ethan is doing is wrong, he would rather try to basically say, well, you need to be nicer to us so that we will defend you. When in reality, you shouldn't be defending Ethan. There should be no defense for what he's doing. The only thing you can even defend him on is the fact that people are being nasty as hell in retaliation to what he is saying on the internet. But just like I'm fully prepared for the complete dumpster fire that may come from me talking about this, Ethan would rather sit back. Ethan and Ian both would rather sit back and play the victim card to a point where they'll put something out that is technically offensive, that is technically, by today's definition at least, edgy. And then when people react to it negatively, they cry. They cry and want to say people are attacking them, when the reality is, for the most part, you are just being criticized. Is there people out there that are probably, like, defaming them? Yeah, I'm sure. But when you post stupid shit, expect stupid results. Stupid is as stupid does, you know what I mean? You can't sit around and expect people to defend you when what you're doing is painting a target on your back. Okay? It would be like if I went around and say, like, let's say I went around on the internet and just started calling people names and being a dickhead, right? And then I decided, well, I don't like the reaction I'm getting from it. I need my friends to step in and help defend me. For them to not do anything because I'm painting a target on my back. That's how everything is. If you want people to be at your side and to support you, you have to give them a reason to. And right now, Idubbbz is getting to that point. If not, he's already been at that point. You know, I can sit back and say a lot of shit all I want. You know, this is going to be an unedited video. This is going to be a bit of a shit video. I'm aware of that, and I'm fully aware that people are going to be in my comments section criticizing me. But you know what I'm not gonna fucking do? I'm not gonna go make a fucking video complaining about any of the fucking reactions I get from shit. Because at the end of the day, I'm aware, just like those two should be, that what you say and do on the internet will have consequences. Especially when you put yourself in a public light. It's just sad and pathetic. You know, trust me when I say I might honestly release more about this should I see more about it, because this is pathetic, dude. You know, it's a rushed 20-minute rant, basically, but at least 20 minutes so far. But at the same point in time, dude, like, I just watched that whole thing. Before coming on to OBS, I finished watching that whole video. So it's all fresh in my mind. And again, it's for the first 30 fucking minutes of him actually speaking. It's all about how he feels betrayed because Ethan's bitching about them on the internet. Well, what do you expect? That's who he is. H3 Productions, as a whole, with Ethan and Gila, the Klein family, they're very egotistical. Highly egotistical. To a point where the dude, like he mentioned in the Content Cop, which I didn't even know because I don't fucking watch H3. The guy brings on a kill switch. If you need a kill switch because you're worried you're going to say something that bad on the internet, then you probably should not be making content, dude. Okay? This is the internet. Basically the wild fucking west of my generation. Alright? And we're finally, it's like, when I was, anywhere from, 10 to 15, I'd say 10 to, 18, the internet was essentially the Wild West. Right? You could say what you want, do what you want, and all you had to worry about were basically other people doing the same shit. Right? Maybe worse if you really did some stupid-ass shit. Like some of these locals will do, or, apparently now Ethan Klein. And if you go look, Idubbbz, I can't see the dislikes on the video. I might have to, you know what, let me go Google that real quick. Because I feel like Idubbbz got ratioed, bro. To have 4 million views, well over 4 million. I think as of me waking up and looking at that video, we're talking 4.8 million damn near. And the guy doesn't even have 500,000 likes. You know what I mean? Dislikes. Ooh, here we go. It's already all over the place. Oh, here we go. Yeah, no, Idubbbz is getting ratioed to hell and back. I had to look it up real quick just to make sure I had the right information on that. But yeah, no, he is being so fucking ratioed. But this is what happens when you put shit out. You need to understand that, one, what's going on with H3 Productions is a hell of a lot more than him complaining about the way you guys have been acting towards him. Or the lack thereof, so to speak. This isn't about you being an idiot. This isn't about you wanting to be friends with him. It's about the fact that when we go to watch a content cop, right? I don't want to hear some biased take about why my friend is being mean to me. I go to watch a content cop so that I can see background information on somebody from an unbiased standpoint. Okay? When we watched content cops growing up, we all knew that when we saw the new one, we were going to get a very rational video. This, whereas what we're seeing now is just Idubbbz complaining that his friend is being mean to him. And then he goes on to talk about stuff that he slightly doesn't like about what H3's doing. And I will be completely fair with this one, it's very hard to talk about what H3 is doing, considering the area of the internet that he is doing it in. Essentially, like, for the few people that are living under a rock more so than I do, Ethan's gone political. Ethan has gone political, and he's just kind of lashing out at people for having a different opinion. He's lashing out at people because they're not giving him what he wants. And rather than being a rational adult about it, he would rather sit back, go to the internet, and bitch and whine and moan about every little thing that's going on. When in reality, all that will do is paint more of a target on your back. You want to complain about what happened with your kids? That's fair. That is very fair. It's messed up that people were sending child services to his house over shit he was saying on the internet. But when he put that out, that should have been the fucking end of it. That should have been the kick in the ass he needed to go, you know what? All the stuff I'm doing on the internet with my wife is affecting my children. Okay? That is where he should have stopped. And this is devolving, but again, I'm not going on the script. I literally just put this up, but essentially, what irritates me about this the most is just the fact that there's no coherence to anything Idubbbz is saying. It's just complete. I'm upset that my friend is someone that I considered to be my friend is being irrational towards us. When the reality is, there's a lot more you could be saying. There's a lot that you could have actually done and brought up. I mean, like I said earlier in the video here, I would have brought up the fact that he's basically utilizing his kids as a fucking manipulation tactic for pity points. Because YouTubers are being mean to me. Well, homie, welcome to the fucking internet, dude. Like, what do you expect? Nobody on the internet is fucking nice. Nobody. Like you want to go on the internet and you want to post your own opinions like I'm doing right now? You better be prepared for the shit that you're going to get from people that don't like what you said. And then for Idubbbz to turn around and basically try to hold out hope that everything can repair itself, in my eyes, is sad. Because Ethan will never change. Ethan's not going to change. He doesn't want to. So you're holding out hope for nothing, right? To me, it almost reminds me of when fucking Joji decided to stop doing the Filthy Frank stuff for his own health. And rather than just accept the fact the guy doesn't want to continuously put himself into positions where he's going to be in and out of the hospital, people got mad. Where my content? Where my content? You know, then you look at Max and Chad. Those two are just doing their thing. There's a reason why they're not sticking their nose into this in any way. Because for them, there is no benefit, dude. There's no reason for them to be saying anything. And they were all part of that same group. When you sit back and you do dumb shit, expect dumb consequences, man. That's all I can say about it. You know? And it's just the reality of shit, man. It's really just the reality. Like I said, man, it sucks to be seeing this stuff because these were all YouTubers that I grew up watching, that I enjoyed. To now see them essentially being moronic. Hopefully, they'll stop, man. You know, I think I've said enough. I've been going on for long enough. I'm gonna call the video here. You know, I don't even want to ask for anything because this is, in my eyes, just stupid. But bottom line is, Idubbbz needs to watch what he's doing. Otherwise, he's gonna end up in the same boat. But hope y'all got something out of my moronic ramblings. Hope y'all at least enjoyed what you heard. I'll catch y'all in the next one.